I told you I was coming right back. And I'm back. All right, so let's see what happens. Let's see if BlueJ can find the JDK. And um, everything goes nice and smooth. So the only way to actually check this is to create a very small file. So we're going to say new class. Actually, we need a project. So let's go to a new project. As you see the top, you couldn't see it in the other one before, right? Remember? Okay, so I want you to be organized about the way we do this. It's true that this is your computer, it's not the school computer, but eventually I will be asking you to show me your organization skills over here. Because we're going to have a lot of programs, and we're going to have also, um, we're going to kind of sort them out by the different type of complexity and themes and a whole bunch of different things that we're going to be doing. Lots of fun. So I'm going to choose. I'm going to go to documents. I'm going to go to my Java programs. We have basic program unit 1. So we're going to start right here. So I'm going to say open right here. You don't see it, but it says open. And now we're going to give it a name. So we're just going to call it my um, we didn't use something called camel case, which is putting words together. And the way to differentiate the words is by starting each of those words with an uppercase. So is that my first Java. PRG. Now, pay attention, underscore your initials. In this case, mine is GE. And that's it. I'm going to say OK. That is not what I wanted to do. Yeah, well, that's good enough. My first programs, I should have put an S in there, but that's okay. A new class. All the programs that I'm going to be writing now are pretty much using just a method called main. And you probably wonder what a method is, but maybe if you remember something about functions, it's the same thing. A main is where things are executed, written and executed in Java. Later on, when we learn object-oriented, we're going to have other classes that are not executable because they don't have something called a method called main. So the new class, you can read this. This gives you information. This is like a README too, a README file, sorry, and you can put a lot of information here. I don't use it much. It's up to you. New class. The new class is going to be the typical thing. We gotta do it, right? Because if we don't do it, it's not the beginning of a new class, right? So now, what am I missing? I'm missing my initials. I am very strict about that. Oops. And what is more, you will be losing points if you do not have your initials in there. That's all you need. Nothing more than that. Um, by default, it's going to pick a class, and you don't have to worry about anything else for a while. Actually, yeah, for a very long time. If ever. Say okay, and here's the file. Let's open it up. It has very basic stuff that we are not going to need. We're going to delete a lot of stuff in here, but some of the stuff we're going to keep. Now pay attention to this part. What does it say? May include large sounds. Man, I don't want that. Um, I am going to leave with this on the top, but I am going to take all of this all the way down to the last, but not including curly brace. What is more, once I delete this, I only have um, an open and close curly brace. Nothing more than that. So, what's above it is something called documentation. It's called a description, right? There's description, author, version, or date. And I would like you to know that I want the date. So, this is something that will, that paragraph of comments, and comments are not executed by the compiler. This is a compiling language as opposed to Python was an interpreter language. So comments are perfect for something called documentation. Documentation is, there are different kinds of documentation. Some of them are more worth than other ones. And a simple program is about 10 points. And you will see all this very detailed in the Canvas modules, and it will actually show up multiple times, and it will be part of the rubrics. So the first thing I want you to do is, you can call it documentation. I am not going to be using the word documentation regularly. This is just to get you started, because I want you to be sure and confident that, not just confident, but I want you to be aware of the fact that this is very important to your teacher. That's me. And one thing that I always tell my students, and I will tell you now, a happy teacher is a happy student. So I want you to make me happy, because I will make you happy. The next thing is write the description of this class. So in here, you have to write your own description of the program that you're writing, you implementing. And I will just say very simple things sometimes. At this point, we don't have a lot of complicated or a lot of instructions, so I'm going to make it super simple. I'm just going to say this is my, oops, I don't like uppercase much. This is my first Java program using BlueJ. BlueJ. Did you see that it created a new asterisk? That's because this type of documentation, this type of comment is paragraph comments, and it kind of generated. The way to get that is by starting with the slash stars, 2 stars, and close a star and a slash. And so these will be automatic. So in the next line, I want to say something like, this is my first program using BlueJ IDE. It only has one method, main. It only does one thing, prints hello world. Input, none. Output, hello world. Author, please your name. version is 8. Java 8. Date. I don't know, like that. I can say today is what? 9/20 what? 8/29, 2020. All right. So this is what we call documentation. This word is not required. Everything else in here is required. And now we're going to start with the method main. Public void, oops, static void main. You're going to be doing this mechanically. We're going to discover what this really is later on. Learning programming is not a linear type of learning. It's kind of twisted, comes back, goes down, goes up, and then eventually, after a while, you start understanding a lot of things that they didn't make sense or you didn't know what you were doing for a long time. And that's okay. You better be flexible about that because that's the way it is with all programming. So BlueJ is going to tell you that something is missing, something is wrong. So over here, if I open and close a curly brace, the arrow went away. And I do that on purpose because I want to make sure that I never forget to close the braces. The same with parentheses. Need myself a little bit of room. One of the things I like about some of the IDEs, and in particular BlueJ, BlueJ is very small and in terms of the space that it takes in your computer, but it has these colors that tells you that you are inside a block of statements. It also does automatic indentation. However, the compiler doesn't really care that you indented. But I, myself, your teacher, does care. Um, I do care that you have indentation, you do have um, white spaces, blank lines. Um, I want you to be uh, good at writing the programs in a way that is also readable. I don't expect you to do mm, the most efficient programs. Certainly a little better than brute force, although sometimes brute force is the only thing you can do. But there will be times in which there are options in which you can improve your uh, program by being more efficient. This should be your second year doing computer programming, so I have a little bit of higher expectations that I do have for, let's say, the Python class, which I believe to me is the introductory programming class. All right, so in here, I'm only going to put one instruction. Now in Python, it's very simple. You just say print and double quotes and in parentheses, I print something, whatever. Well, Java has a lot of structures and it's also case sensitive, meaning upper and lower case letters are two different animals. But that's the same thing with Python, right? Uh, but Python is no type base. And we're going to discuss a lot about that, but not yet. So to print, we're going to write a whole bunch of words. System, period, out, and then print ln for print line. Now we can open parentheses. Most important, which is the number one error students make at a good percentage of students, is the semicolon. every instruction, every statement has to end with a semicolon. That was the reason why when I didn't have the curly braces, I got that red blob over here because it was thinking there was a statement, and it was expecting a semicolon. And here I'm going to put the hello world. And again, so I don't miss anything, I do it that way. In Python, you can use single quotes. That doesn't work in Java. Strings, text can only be enclosed in double quotes. So now we can say hello world. That's all we need. That's pretty much it. There's maybe a little too many blank lines. That's good enough for me. Now, this is the moment of truth to see if BlueJ can find the JDK. We're going to compile. That's something you didn't do when you were doing Python because it was an interpreter language, and the bytecode was taking place at the same time that you were writing in the shell. Click over here, and let me bring this up. You don't see what it says at the bottom. I know, I cannot see it. Oh, I can see it now. I can bring it up. There we go. Go. Class compile, no syntax errors. Yay! So, it looks like the operating system was very smart about how to put the two of them together. Here is the actual program. We're going to run it from here. You need to right click on it, and here is the method that we wrote. So we're going to click on that, and we're going to press OK. And here's the output. The output comes out on a terminal window. You can make it smaller if you want to. I'm going to ask you to turn in a screenshot of the work that you've done. Like this, probably. The last thing that we're missing here, I'm going to show you in a minute, is the following. Let me just move everything so we can see everything. Is that part of the documentation is the output. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to, let me bring it up so you can see it better. I'm going to do slash. And here we have, well, I don't like that one. I like the blue one. So hold on. Because this becomes very faded. And I think that's when you need to start. There, let's see. There you go. It's more visible. So here should be the output. Or technically you should have input, none, output. So you come to the terminal, copy. With the output of it is, and you're gonna bring it right in here. There you go. Compile it again, just to make sure that you didn't change anything on the program. There was nothing wrong with it. As you can see, this is not executable, neither is this. But the compiler is not complaining because it's marked as comments. This is a complete program the way I want it. Program like this gets you a full A. Documentation at the top, a header, that's what I call it. Good structure, easy to read, input, output, all self-contained. That's it. Right here, you do this. You take a screenshot of this, and then you can submit it to the post. You're done. Yippee! So this is the format of all your programs, uh, including the initials. You will lose points if you do not give me your initials. You will see everything in the Canvas module. So you can re-watch this or email me if you have any questions. I'll see you soon. Bye.